morning friends, and in this video we are going to learn about the communication between the parent component and the child component. So right now I have just two components, home and about. So I'm going to create a component here in the home.view, and right now I have this header, and now I add one heading so that you can identify that this is coming from the parent component. So I am parent. So this h1 tag will be displayed there, and this will just show that here you will see that it will display that I am parent. It means I a parent, I am not. So this is I am parent. Now I create one component here inside this component folder, and I am going to name it as child component. Child component dot view. So I will use the snippet VBase CSS, and I will simply write one header that is h3 of the order and say I am child component. And here I have this h3 tag here, and I can write a paragraph here. This is just one tiny piece of information so that it looks little better. So it says that this is a child component. Paragraph. And closing parenthesis. So this is a paragraph and there's nothing right now. So I go into the home. This is the parent component. Here I'll import. So import child component from @/component / child component dot view. So I need to register this. So here in the component section I will use child component, and this is now registered, so I can use this as the normal HTML tag here. So this will become child dash component because it is made up of two words, child and component. Child, see, both the letters begin with the capital letters, the child C and the component C. That's why it is treated as two different words. So child component and / no error. Now let me refresh this. So here if I refresh my browser, so you see I'm a parent. So this content is coming from the home, which is the parent component, and this I'm a child component, and these two. Now we are discussing that how child component can communicate with the parent component, or the parent component can communicate with the child component. So suppose a child component, like the parent component, can communicate with the child component with the help of a prop. So here I pass one information. So I write message equals this is from parent component, and this message will pass to the child component. So in the child component here, if I want to embed that message content in this paragraph only, so I'll use this double curly bracket mustache syntax, and here it's called the mustache. It's the MOUSTACHE, is mustache syntax, or double curly bracket. We can use the term whatever you feel like, so mustache or double curly bracket, and the name of that variable or the information is message. So I simply type the message here, and now if I refresh the browser, then there you'll see that the message will be displayed. it is not displaying. This is child paragraph, but the component message is, oh, I have to register the prop. Sorry, I forgot. So first I use props, and then in the box, now look at the name of the prop. Name of the prop is this message. This message is the name of the prop, and this is the value. This is a parent component. This is the value, and the name of the prop is message. So this child here, it's called registering the prop. So you just type here message. Means whatever name is there, that word should be here exactly. So now if I refresh, then you see that this is from the parent component. So this is coming from this variable, this message. Now if I make changes here in the home component, so this is from the parent component, and it is a prop value, full stop, save, and then refresh the browser. And then again you will see that this line, this is a prop value, and this is displayed. But right now here you see that this message is not variable, so this is not bound to this child. Now I want to use the bind method, the vBind method, to bind the data property. So inside this data, I simply remove this message from here, and I will use this message here. So this message has become a string, and it is a data property. So this is message. Now how to pass? So here I write colon, or you can say this is the short form for vBind, and there you can use vBind and then message. So instead of using this, I will use only this colon, and then I write the message. So I write MSG, and there in the double quote you write the name of the variable, that is the message. So MSG equal message. So now see, this is your message here. Oh sorry, instead of equal sign we need to write colon. Okay, so message, and this message is passed here, the MSG. So now there inside the child component we can get the message using this colon MSG. So this you can also, instead of colon, suppose if you feel like writing v-bind, there is no error, same thing. So now inside this I can access that with the help of MSG, or simply MSG. Now refresh, and then you will find that it is there. Okay, so sorry, prop name is also changed because the prop name has, now the prop has become message MSG, so it should be MSG. And now I refresh the browser, then you'll find the same thing. This is the, now if I change the content from there, like suppose here, then it will be reflected dynamically. So this is from there. So this is how you can send the message from there. Now suppose that instead of sending a string message, if I send a boolean value, like suppose depending on certain values, like when the child components should be rendered and when not, so I can make this message as true. So this is now a boolean value. Now I want that the child component will be rendered only when this message is true. So now this is passed to this variable. Now inside this here I will use VIF. So VIF, and then I will use the same thing MSG. So this same message, now right now this does not make any sense, but if it just keep it there, then it will simply display its content. Now right now MSG is true. So if I refresh it, then you will see that this has become true, the component is seen. But since I have used here is VIF, like if MSG is true, then this content of this division of the child component will be displayed, otherwise not. So if I go inside this home component and I make this as false, then you will find that will not be displayed. This child content will not be displayed. It means the father is sending, the parent component is sending a message true or false. If it is true, then the message will be displayed, like the content of the child will be displayed, and if not, it will not be displayed. So this is what's happening. So again, if I change this value as true, then this will be displayed again. So if I refresh it, then here you see the content of the child component is displayed. Now I say that, is there a way that the child component can also communicate with the parent component? The answer is yes. How? So here inside the child component, when you have this child component, when the parent is sending the message, then from here I can send one string. So I can say @ and there I use a thing called, you can say, my communication. So I use it as short form for my com, and this is my com. So this is my communication, and right now this is not linked, so this my com. Now in the child component I just design one button, and then this is button, and on the click of this button, so at the rate of click, I will invoke a function and say call papa. This is the method, and then here I say call papa. So this is button, and now you will see that when this button will be clicked, then the call papa function will be invoked. Right now this function is not there. So here I write the data section of this script, and it's called as data section. So here I need to have one return. So return, right now I don't have any variables, so I will be keeping it blank, but since it looks nice, that's why I have incorporated this. Now I use the method also. So methods colon, and then in the curly bracket I will define, I need to put a colon there. So methods colon, and then there is a curly bracket. Inside that curly bracket I will define this function called as call papa. So this is CALLPAPA. This is the call papa method. Now this method, like when this will be called, so let me check the spelling here. It is the call papa P capital, so it should have the capital letter here now P, and then when this method will be called, then this will emit a signal, and that is like this dot $emit, and the signal is what the string we have passed here. So that is the my com. So again you just pay attention, this is my com. So when my com signal is passed, so what is my com? With the help of this my com, I can define one more function in the parent component. So inside this here I defined my com, and in this my component I want this message to change. So like suppose this is the variable, so it can be accessed with the this dot message, and this I keep it as false. So false. Now so this looks better. Here in the child component you see that this is, attention, let's first see and then I'll re-explain it again whether it is working properly or not. So I refresh my web browser, and there you see that the I am parent. So this information is coming from the parent component. I am a child component, and this is a child component paragraph true value. All these are coming from the child component, like all these 3 lines. Even the button is also the part of child component. Now if I click call papa method, then this will change the value of the variable, and at the same time this content will be displayed. So now here you see, it means the child component have sent the message to the parent component. So, and parent component, like child have communicated with the parent, and the parent have changed this message from true to false, and since this is invoked to this content, that's why this is gone. Now I say I want to get it back, so the better way is that keep this division outside in the preview of the rendering section. So like here I have my closing division here, so now this button is outside. I just start one more button. Sorry, I don't need this division. Okay, fine. So I have right now here, you see that I have one division, and this division is controlled by if message. If the message is true, then this content will be displayed. Now button is outside of this division, so even if this part of this header and the paragraph is not rendered, then the button will always be there. So now I refresh the web browser and then I refresh it again. I'll see the whole content. Oh, it's not showing because it has become false. So here this has become false, so I refresh another instance because initially it is true. So here, let me close this button. I am okay, fine. I think then the method problem here is that I need to take a division and there, because it is if and then the else, so that by default it is accepting the else also. So here I use a div, and there inside this I write else, and I put this button in this below division. So if it is now div, or I do keep this button outside here, and there I write a simple paragraph that I am in else part. So this is my closing paragraph, and if, so all these are the part of the if, and this is else. Now what is problem is saying that else directive requires being preceded by the element which has the if or the else if directive. This division should have a closing tag. So this is closing. Now, so this is one clear division and this is another clear division. So but there is one problem again with this idea also. Now here you see that we have the content, the button is not seen because it is gone in the else part. Now I need to keep this button outside. So here the button is outside the if and else, so like whatever is happening. So now here I just write one paragraph and they'll say I am in the else part. So this is closing paragraph. So now we have two sections. This is division and it says that if it is true. So here paragraph and if part. So either it will be if will be displayed or the else will be displayed. That's why I have used this term else part and the if part. Now save, refresh the browser, and there you see the button. Now if I click on call papa, then I see I'm in the else part. If I click it again, nothing will happen, because once it is set to whatever it was, it will say. Now if you want this to keep on toggling, then what you have to do is that let this method, which is call papa method, like the mycom, this is setting it to false. So better we can do that it negate the state of whatever is the state or the content of the variable message, that will just be negated. So if it is true, then it will become false, and if it is false, it will become true. It's called toggling effect will produce. So here I write just negation of this dot message. Now press. So I refresh my browser again, and then here I click. So I'm in the else part. If you click it again, I'm in the else part, if part. So this is the communication between the child component and the parent component. The parent component can communicate with the help of props, and the child component can just communicate with the parent component with the help of this emit method. So now again I just explain you, like here I have my parent component, and here I'm binding it with the message. Message is just one variable. This v bind message is message. This is the string, or you can say the value of the variable message, which is passed to the child component, and this is using props. So now here the name of this signal or the message, whatever you call it, is called MSG. Now I go into the child component, and there you see that this MSG is registered here first as the prop, and then from this prop here the VIF is analyzing the MSG. Since it is a logical variable, it can have the value only as true and false. So if MSG is true, then the VIF part is rendered. If it is false, then VELSE part is rendered. Now, so this is how the parent component is communicating with the child component. Now the question is that how child component is communicating with the parent component. So in this section, child component, you see that there is a button, and with the click of event, with this @click, the call papa, this is a method. This method is sending the signal back to the parent method. So now it is defined inside the body of the child component here. Now here, and this is sending this message, this dot emit, and is sending one string called my com, or my message, you can say. If I just name it as my message, so this is the string, and then where that string message is gone, so it comes here again back to this here, this is string. So I need to name it as my message. So my message. And now this my message is linked to my com, and then here I have defined this my com. Now let me refresh this again, and then I do it again. So this is refreshed. Now it is saying, so it is not showing. Why? Because the function name, this my com, here @ my com is my message. So this message has become message. Now this one should have the same name so that you can sync it. So I can name it as my message. So this my message is now bind with this my message, and here I can invoke a function called my message. So I need to rename this my function as from my com to my message. And there you see the task is achieved. So here I refresh my browser again, and then if I click on this, then this is start happening. Thank you very much. Just subscribe to the channel and have a very nice time.